screaming mummy. First discovered in 1881, the screaming mummy is believed to be of Pentawere, one of the sons of Pharaoh Ramses III. Unfortunately, Pentawere was tricked by his mother to plan out Ramses' assassination. After getting successful in his mission, poor Pentawere was asked to end his life as a part of punishment. The cause of his demise is unknown, but the painful look on the mummy's face indicates it could be due to poisoning or hanging. However, the priest refused to mummify his body so as to keep him unclean, which, as per old Egyptian belief, will lead directly to hell. Therefore, the body got mummified naturally with stretched facial muscles out of misery. Whale Valley. A prehistoric whale of around 43 million years old was unearthed in the western desert of Egypt. According to Egyptian scientists, the whale fossils showed a semi-aquatic, four-legged creature that used to walk on land and hunt in sea. The fossil was first found by Egyptian environmentalists in 2008 and named Phaiomycetes Anubis, after the god of demise in ancient Egypt. Wadi al-Hitan, also known as Whale Valley, at the south of Cairo, is one of the best locations to dig out the truth about the evolution of whales. It has been established by now that the common ancestor of whales was a flat-headed salamander, from where these mammals gradually evolved with the ability to move, sense, and eat underwater. Crocodile mummy. In the meantime, when archaeologists were busy digging out human mummies, they stumbled upon several mummified crocodiles. Experts believe that this is part of the ancient Egyptian ritual where they used to make offerings to the god Sobek, the god of crocodiles, in order to please him. The studies further revealed that there is evidence on how these ancient people used to satisfy the god crocodile, in hopes that it is going to protect them from anything bad. There were crocodile priests who spent their days mummifying crocs and offering them to the gods. Today, a perfectly preserved crocodile mummy from Egypt has been placed inside the Hearst Museum of Anthropology in California for study purposes. 2,500-year-old sarcophagus. In April of 2018, Egyptians unveiled a major discovery of around 250 sarcophagi and around 150 bronze statues of several gods and goddesses at the Saqqara Necropolis, south of Cairo. According to archaeologists, the painted wooden coffins, despite being more than 2,500 years old, are still in pretty good condition, with perfectly well-preserved mummies laying inside them. Moreover, the bronze statues include the goddess of Isis and Bastet, along with the god Osiris. Egyptian authorities, including the Security General of Antiques, are planning to send all this precious stuff to the Egyptian Museum. Mummification Workshop. This time in Memphis, Egypt, at the ancient cemetery of South Cairo, archaeologists stumbled upon a 2,500-year-old burial shaft and a mummification workshop. 98 feet deep into the shaft is a host of burial chambers carved into the bedrock of two linings, where some 35 mummies, along with several wooden coffins and sarcophagi, were displayed. According to experts, this remarkable discovery might help the archaeologists in identifying the amount of chemical compositions of oils used in the mummification process. Apart from this, the burial chamber also contained other artifacts, such as a silver gilded mask and various statues that are going to be displayed in the Grand Museum of Egypt. Creepy dolls. Another exceptional discovery made inside an Egyptian tomb around 984 feet at the upper side of South Cairo is of these doll statues. In ancient Egypt, people belonging to the upper class had this awful habit of snapping and burying servants along with their masters to serve them in the afterlife too. These 3,000-year-old statues represent the departed souls of the owner and their servants beside them. The figures are shaped up into male and female dolls, made out of stone or wood. Not just that, each figure is embarked with spells written on it, describing the particular function it was associated with. Undiscovered tombs. Archaeologists in Egypt have discovered 5 well-preserved and colorfully decorated tombs dug beside a pyramid at Saqqara. The tombs are supposed to be over 4,200 years old, with some of them even dating back to the Old Kingdom from 2700 BC to 2200 BC. Each tomb belongs to the regional rulers including Eri, Yaret, Pepi, Nefhani, Beti, and Hanu, placed inside the narrow burial chambers. From walls to coffins, everything is beautifully engraved with hieroglyphs of sacred animals, urns, and symbols from the afterlife. Besides this, there were around 50 burial chambers discovered along with wooden figures, pottery, and limestone coffins. Bread made of old yeast. While tasting history, Seamus Blackley, an Egyptologist and a baker, with the goal of creating something that would closely resemble what the ancient Egyptians used to eat, came up with the idea of baking a bread from 4,500-year-old yeast. Interestingly, the yeast was meticulously extracted from ancient Egyptian ceramic pots. Well, if you're thinking, is it safe to eat? Then, as per Seamus, anything baked at 500 degrees for 45 minutes is safe and delicious. Hidden chamber inside pyramid. In 2017, scientists were able to peek inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Thanks to the invention of ultra-powerful cosmic rays, a hidden chamber, along with rooms, was found inside the pyramid. The technology is called muography, which detects these subatomic particles passing through the rock. The chamber is measured to be around 100 feet long. However, no one's sure about what is lying inside the chamber, or why it was left vacant inside the pyramid. With a lot of people representing theories regarding aliens, scientists hope to send a flying robot inside to unwrap the riddles. Falcon mummy. An archaeological research team made another strange discovery when they came across a tomb containing around 15 mummified falcons buried inside a temple. And it was when, out of those 15 mummies, one was brought to the pawn shop beautifully wrapped up in a strange geometrical pattern under a linen. The owner of the shop called his archaeologist friend, Thomas, for its authenticity. According to Thomas, the falcon represents the god Horus, with right and left eyes representing sun and moon respectively. The wings, however, represent heaven, which is no doubt why Egyptians used to revere the falcon for its strength and ability to fly far. Judging by the look of the mummy and its coffin, Thomas concluded that it might be some 2,600 years old. Sunken treasure. When 2 Greco-Egyptian cities got sunk into the Nile River, underwater excavation projects managed to pull out some well-preserved objects dating back some 1,000 years. Among the impressive finds were 16-foot-tall statues of king and queen, as well as the statues of sphinxes, offerings, and liturgical objects. Apart from this, some rich treasure including stelas, jewelry, and coins from ancient Egypt was found too. These precious findings were displayed at the British Museum for a blockbuster exhibition in 2006 called Egypt's Sunken Treasure. Book of Demise. With the biggest quest of the afterlife, Egyptians came up with this one of the most amazing artifacts from ancient times called the Book of Demise. Egyptians being the first ones to record events on paper, or what they used to say papyrus, had this book filled with magical formulas and spells to ease up their afterlife. Although the book was initially available to the upper class of Egypt, it was later made accessible to common people as well. According to this book, the deceased were given maps in order to find their way in the afterlife, where, after navigating through demons and other mysterious creatures, they will be welcomed by the god Anubis, who will then compare the weight of your heart to an ostrich feather and decide whether you'll enter paradise or get eaten up with god Emma. Hence, during mummification, priests used to leave the heart inside the body while extracting all the other organs out. Mummification of Seti. The father of Ramesses, Seti I, was one of the successful pharaohs of his time, with arguably the most well-preserved body found in the entirety of ancient Egypt. Let's get into his mummification process. The amazing process of his mummification started off by pulling the brain out of the nostrils using an iron hook, followed by removing all the organs except for the heart. The organs were then placed inside several special jars to be reunited with Seti in the afterlife. The body was then covered with salt and left to dry for around 40 days, and was finally wrapped in linen bandages through glue and magical spells to protect the mummy. Hence, this 3,000-year-old Seti's mummy looks like a sleeping beauty. According to some radiologists, the Egyptians were exceptional plastic surgeons, so they further beautified Seti's mummy by placing feathers around the nose and cheeks to make his journey of afterlife easy and calm. Sealed coffins. Sealed for thousands of years, archaeologists in Egypt have managed to unseal some 59 coffins of clerks and priests, wrapped in such a pristine condition. Belonging to the 26th dynasty, the 2,500-year-old coffins were discovered in a series of shafts near south of Cairo. Apart from this, they also found 28 statues of gods known as Seker, who were worshipped in relation to funerals, burials, and treatment of the deceased ones. Today, these remarkable coffins are placed in the Grand Museum of Egypt to be admired by tourists. Giant statue. While working in a site near eastern Cairo's slums, archaeologists unearthed a statue of King Psamatich I, who ruled over Egypt from 664 BC to 610 BC. The largest statue ever surfaced out of Egypt was 26 feet long and submerged in mud of the ancient city of Heliopolis. The gigantic statue, found in a fragmentary, was made out of quartzite, along with the bust, the lower part of the head, and the crown submerged in groundwater. It was sculpted in the ancient classical style of 2000 BC, while establishing a resurgence to the greatness and prosperity of the classical period of old. The iconic discovery was made on March 9, 2017, from a site that was previously considered a waste dump, but is confirmed to be of Psamtik due to engravings found at the base of the statue. Mysterious objects. Ancient and mysterious, archaeologists in Egypt discovered hundreds of objects made out of clay. Many referring them to mysterious vessels, the objects bear uniqueness in a way they are made. According to expert Rob Mason, these mystery vessels, made out of stone, could be ancient weapons to blow off the enemy by filling them with black powder. Moreover, the engravings around the vessel might look strange, but as per Rob, it helps in holding the weapon firmly in hand. To test his hypothesis, he even created the reproductions of it, and it turns out Egyptians were smart enough to come up with these portable weapons to win over their enemies on the battlefield. Library of Alexandria. Shrouded in mystery, the Library of Alexandria was known to be one of the largest libraries before it got accidentally destroyed around 2,000 years ago, burning down. And until then, from its founding to its destruction, everything remains hidden in between. The library is believed to have some 200,000 to 700,000 books, divided in two branches. It was known to be located inside the royal quarter, along with the tomb of Alexander the Great. While the library is rebuilt today, the mysterious disappearance of old Alexandria without any trace is beyond anyone's imagination. White Desert. The Great White Rod lies to the southeast of Egypt. It's a vast span of salt known for its snowy look. In many places, the collection of white sand appears like snow while frosting the desert into several unique, picturesque rocks. These chalk-white icebergs of various shapes and sizes are composed of either white calcium, quartz crystals, or limestone. Around 60 million years ago, the area was filled with shallow sea, but with these deposits taking charge over it in the next 30 million years, it got transformed into a thick layer of limestone. And with a vast variety of wildlife hovering over the sandy salts, it is one of the few places to spot the Indian onager, along with the abundance of mushroom formations. Silver Pharaoh. A tomb of a pharaoh who used to rule Egypt around 3,000 years ago was excavated by an archaeologist named Pierre Montet near the city of Tanis on the Nile Delta. And surprisingly enough, this pharaoh named Susenes I was found buried inside a silver coffin, wearing a fancy gold mask, hence known as the Silver King. His coffin, apart from being made up of silver, was surrounded by treasures which rival those of Tutankhamun. According to the research, Susenes was given his silver sarcophagus as a gift by Merentah, the son of Ramesses the Great, and had his signatures added to it as well. King Tut's flat head. With head binding being one of the common practices carried out in Egyptian culture, Tutankhamun is depicted wearing striped headcloth as a pharaoh. According to Dr. Martin's research, this must be done in order to differentiate them from the common people, which is why, for years, it was speculated that King Tut passed away at the age of 19 by blowing his head. Moreover, recent studies show that the damage to his mummy's skull occurred after he passed away, either during the embalming process or at the hands of Carter's crew. Easter Island. Built somewhere between the 10th and 16th centuries, with being home to nearly 1,000 statues known as moai, both standing and laying on a grassy field, Easter Island is one of the world's greatest mysteries. It is believed that the huge sculptures represent the faces of worshipped ancestors, with their faces and shoulders above the ground, with bodies buried underneath the ground. All the faces face inward from the coastline to symbolize protection for everyone. Besides being big, solid, and carved with stone chisels of solidified volcanic ashes, one theory says people who settled Easter Island 800 years ago asked the statues to walk to their designated places by using their divine powers. Ancient machined artifacts. While exploring beneath the sands of the Great Pyramid of Saqqara in Egypt, more than 40,000 remarkable machined hard stones, vases, and other artifacts belonging to the ancient Egyptian civilization were unearthed. Some of them are made up of translucent forms of stones, while others from diorite, granite, and many other materials. The finished surfaces are utterly smooth, bearing construction marks on them. Apart from this, the unbroken vessels bear such an expert craftsmanship and perfect symmetry that it appears to be balanced at every inch. Some are even made with crystals embedded in them, with the thickness of playing cards. Pet mummies. On November 23, 2017, Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities revealed their newly discovered mummies in Saqqara, Egypt, including 5 lion cubs, birds, cats, and crocodiles. All of them belong to 664 to 332 BC. The mummies were displayed at the Step Pyramid in Saqqara, south of Cairo, along with, quote, the loveliest surprise of stone scarab, a type of beetle believed to be the largest of its kind. But in ancient Egypt, pet mummies are of no surprise because they purposely used to depict pets in their owner's tomb, or sometimes even mummified and buried them with their owners to allow beloved pets to go on to the afterlife. Today's open discussion points towards the picture of Queen Nefertiti's bust, who once was one of the most famous queens of ancient Egypt and the wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten. Nefertiti is known to rule over Egypt along with her husband until 1336 BC, after which she kind of mysteriously disappeared, while leaving historians baffled for centuries. From defeating an army to leading the worship of Aten and commanding a chariot, Nefertiti was such a powerful queen. Therefore, some Egyptologists and historians believed that she might have taken charge over the entirety of Egypt by disguising herself as a pharaoh after her husband had passed away. This legacy of power and beauty is what experts behold till today. Thank you very much for watching the video. do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.